The other day on the NLP Worldwide Graduates Group, we were having a chat about self-rapport. Let's continue that chat. Rapport generally is considered a two-way aspect, a connection with another person, a feeling of harmony or flow within a conversation or just between two or more people. But don't we have rapport with more than just people? We have rapport with ourselves. We have rapport with aspects, concepts, time, energy. Have you ever had a not enough time? Or you're not quite feeling it, whatever that it is. Or maybe there's not enough money, not enough energy, enough desire. Maybe there's a fear about something or a lack of confidence in oneself. That would all shine a light as a lack of rapport. We can also probably call this an incongruence. And NLP is very much about creating congruence, wholeness, and choice. And we've got lots and lots of tools that can help us get back to a sense of wholeness and choice. We first have to recognize that sense of incongruence, and I'm going to call this self-rapport. So rapport with oneself or the goal that they've got. And if somebody's out of rapport with the goal that they've got, then they're out of alignment and out of rapport with that future self of what they want. Let's take, I know that this person we were chatting about, a client of someone's, had some sort of a pain, and I know that they were highly ID, internal dialogue. There's a lot of that internal dialogue going. And the coach has used a few different NLP processes, but there still remains this lack of trust of something. Instead of working on the fear, or the pain, or whatever the thing is, if I want to start a business and I'm not, instead of working on the business, instead of looking at I'm trying to communicate better with someone, instead of looking at that relationship, start to look at the relationship of the client or the person that we're working with and themselves and what they're working on. If someone wants to lose weight and they're just not, there's a really good chance that they're not in alignment, they're not in congruence, they're not in rapport with that part of them that has lost weight, or even weight loss in general. So if we coach somebody about how to lose weight, in NLP we've got lots of processes. We could communicate with the symptoms of weight. We could do an unconscious pattern change to see where weight gain started. We could new behavior generate and create some new behaviors. We could change submodalities to change how people view different foods that they're eating too much of, or collapse an anchor, create an anchor, all kinds of stuff. But that's about the issue, the symptom that somebody's bringing me. I can't lose weight. Where I really want to dig a little bit deeper than that, and NLP helps us get past the surface level. The surface level is the behaviors that somebody brings, the symptom that someone brings. And it helps us get into the deeper unconscious mind about the beliefs, about the values, about the importance, the meta programs, the programs beyond our programs. We get to find out, does someone have a fear of failure or fear of success? Do they need external validation? Is there an all or nothing pattern going on? Is there a need for external validation? Is there a mistrust? And so they're always mismatching and looking for what's not going right versus what's going right. Are they discounting all the good stuff versus the counting the good stuff? There's so much that is involved in a human and why we do what we do. That's why I love coaching with NLP, is people are so dynamic and it's not a one-size-fits-all tool. I love putting together puzzles, and the human puzzle is probably one of the most important ones. So when I find that someone may have incongruence with themselves or with the goal that they've got, I start looking at that specifically. How do I build rapport with the goal? How do I help them to build rapport with themselves? And there's a lot of meta model questions in there, a lot of meta questions. What do you believe about this? I might communicate with the symptom of whatever the emotion that's coming up. In this case, for the example, sorry, there's a siren going by. In the case of the example was lack of trust. I'm going to go ahead and guess as soon as I let the sirens go. It's real life, folks. That if someone has a lack of trust, now we have children, they also have a lack of safety. And so much of our lack of congruence comes from a lack of safety. It's, I'm not good enough. This isn't going to work. I'm scared of something. I won't be my whole self. What if my whole self isn't good enough? What if this is as good as it gets? And so we put up this barrier and this wall and call it I don't trust, or I'm fearful, or I can't, or I don't believe. And at the end of the day, there's something going on from our history that tells us that there's something, a historical element that we can use our timeline process with to go back and heal and cleanse and nurture that will help to heal that. Now, also, the tip that I have, that this person probably has some sort of a lack of safety, and it might not be physical safety, but that spiritual, mental, emotional safety. I will get hurt, I will be disregarded, I will be forgotten. What if I'm not good enough? Now we have an airplane. All things at all times. There's probably in the history some sort of a lack of safety. So I would go back and play with that. I'd probably communicate with the symptom of that mistrust. Oh, I remember what I was going to say before the airplane came over. Might need to wait for the airplane. What I was going to say before that is the internal dialogue. When someone has a really high level of internal dialogue, that's not the only thing. It's a high level of internal dialogue that creates an interference. Note just that word, interference. Interference. When it creates the fear inside because of that internal dialogue, that's when I want to address that internal dialogue. Everybody has internal dialogue. Everybody. But if it is mismatching most of the time, if it's looking for what's going wrong, if it's discounting what's going right, if it doubts, self-doubts, self-judges, self-criticals, even when that's an external, you can't do this, that's not for you, this is never going to work. That critic inside, that internal dialogue, when it is creating an interference, is also something that I probably need to address with my client, because it stems from a lack of safety. When we can help someone be safe, not in the outside world, but safe in their core, we can help them live aligned, happy, healthy, and beneficially. So a few things we're looking at, some timeline processes, unconscious pattern change, re-imprinting, tunneling, change personal history, any of that kind of stuff, even into journey work and core transformation work if you're in the advanced NLP skills. And with these tools, we're working on those unconscious patterns, a lack of safety, a lack of trust, the fears that possibly come up, a total misalignment with who I am and who I'm supposed to be. We might also be utilizing parts integration, the processes that helps us take those two different parts. A part of me wants this, but a part of me doesn't believe I can, and maybe integrating those. We might also be looking at neurological levels alignment to make sure that the identity, the values and beliefs, the behaviors, the capabilities, all of these are aligned with who someone wants to be, not necessarily in the order that I just shared. We also might be looking at meta programs and mapping across some meta programs of what it's like and how our mind works when we are aligned with something. And it could be something as simple as how do I know my conviction? How do I congruently know that I'm a woman? Or I live in Australia. How do I congruently know that? And in that case, we could play with some submodalities too. So there's a lot of different things that we can help someone to build rapport. But if some of the, as a coach, if I'm helping somebody and it's just too hard, they're not really connected to what the goal is, they doubt that they can have that, I want to start with that aspect of rapport. Do they have rapport with the desired state, and do they have rapport with themselves? So those are some tips and ideas about where to go. If you've got questions about anything, shoot me an email, pop them on Facebook, however you want to get a hold of me, but I want to help you. I want to help people help people. Talk to you soon.